The plane suddenly lost control and crashed into a parking lot. At that critical moment, a woman luckily managed to dodge it. But strangely, there was no pilot on board the aircraft. Only then did people realize in horror that many of their companions had mysteriously disappeared. The mall fell into complete chaos. However, this wasn't just happening on the ground. Even planes high up in the sky weren't spared. Passengers on one flight noticed something unusual. The people around them had vanished, leaving only piles of clothing behind. Worse still, the plane itself began to lose control. The captain sensed something was wrong and quickly opened the cockpit door. Sure enough, the co-pilot had disappeared. The captain rushed to stabilize the plane. At this point, terrified passengers stormed the cockpit, mistakenly believing the airline was behind everything. The flight attendants tried their best to stop them, but the passengers refused to listen. Just as the situation was about to spiral out of control, a man had no choice but to open the cabin's pressure valve. The sudden depressurization made it hard to breathe, forcing the passengers back to their seats. The man hurried to contact ground control, but the radio remained eerily silent. With no other options, he activated the autopilot and went to the cabin to calm the passengers. He then instructed the crew to begin a head count. Since the flight hadn't yet reached halfway, he decided to turn the plane back to the airport. But just as he adjusted the course, the radar blared a warning. Another airliner was heading straight toward them, and there was no one in that plane's cockpit. Fortunately, the man quickly adjusted his aircraft, resulting in just a scraped wing. But the other plane wasn't so lucky. Its tail exploded, and it plummeted toward the ground below. The man immediately contacted air traffic control, urging them to dispatch rescue teams right away. Still, there was no response over the radio. Then, he noticed the aircraft spoilers were missing, which meant the plane wouldn't be able to slow down upon landing. To make matters worse, the crew discovered flames erupting from the right wing. The earlier collision had caused an engine fuel leak. In that desperate moment, the man pulled the plane to a higher altitude. Without oxygen, the fire quickly went out. Even more fortunately, the captain managed to get in touch with his daughter. He immediately informed her of the situation. By then, the airport was completely shut down. His daughter quickly searched for an alternative landing site. After some searching, she found a stretch of highway that was still under construction. She immediately relayed the coordinates to her father. To help her father spot the start of the runway, she lit gasoline barrels along the roadside. The captain deployed the landing gear. Whether the landing would succeed came down to this one shot. But just then, a roadside power line struck the landing gear, making the situation even more dire. Still, the captain had no choice but to attempt a forced landing. Luckily, he successfully brought the plane to a stop.